Hey guys, Jared with Trident Fly Fishing, and today we're going to be tying my favorite fly for redfish. We're going to tie the Borski Slider. Great pattern, can be fished a number of ways. Let's get started. So in the vise today, I'm tying this on a larger hook. I'm tying it on a Tiemco 811S in a 1/0. So first thing I'm going to do is just start my thread. Then I'm going to attach my eyes. For my measurement for my eyes, I want it to be about a third of the hook shank back, which is further back than you typically see dumbbell eyes. So I'm just going to create a thread base and then create a thread bump to pull this against. And I'll tighten them right down, a couple of wraps. And then start figure eighting them. A couple wraps under. Okay. I'm going to hit those with super glue just to really tighten them down there and make sure they don't move. Just a little bit on top, on the bottom. And then I'm going to bring my thread back, creating a thread base again. And grab my next material, which is going to be craft fur and tan. I'm going to need a pretty good sized chunk of this. Just going to snip it close to the hide here. Strip out the short fuzzy stuff that I don't need. Then I'm going to take a measurement against my hook shank. So I want it to be roughly 2 hook lengths. So I'm just going to cut that to length and tie it in. Just tie it in right behind the eyes. And then bring it back. Making sure to keep it right on top of the hook shank. Okay. Get that down there. Perfect. I'm going to bring my thread back, and then I'm going to grab my hackle, which I'm going to wind through. You should use a hackle that matches the general color scheme of the fly. Okay, so I'm just going to tie that on my side of the hook shank. And bring it all the way up. Trim that off. And then begin to wrap it forwards. So when I wrap it back, I'm going to make sure that my fibers lay backwards. And I'm just taking nice, evenly spaced, open turns. Stop it right behind the eyes. And then tie it off. So I'm just going to wiggle my thread to make sure I don't trap too many fibers, and then wrap back on it. And just take this out. There we go. So the next thing I'm going to do is just invert my hook, and I'm going to tie in my collar of deer hair. I have a golden brown color here, which I really like. I'm just going to make sure I grab a good sized chunk. About the diameter of a fat pencil. So I'm just stripping out all the fibers I don't need. The fuzzy stuff and the short fibers. Just doing that with my dubbing brush and my fingers. Lightly stack them just in my hands. And then I'm going to take a measurement against the hook shank here. So I want it to extend past my hook point and just about to the bend of the hook here. So lay that down right on top, and I'm going to tie it in right where my thread is hanging right now. So I'm going to pinch it, throw 2 loose wraps around it, and then pull straight down and flare it. Okay. Yeah, it may be a little longer than I typically tie it, but you can vary the length of the collar. Just make sure you do cover the hook point. It's just going to help with kind of create a natural weed guard. Throw one more wrap in there, make sure it's tight, pull this forwards, and then I'm going to advance my thread. So I'm going to leave it right there, grab another chunk of deer hair. And I'm actually using deer body hair for this. I find that The hair is cleaner, flares almost as well, and is longer. So I find it a lot easier for me to work with. So again, just stripping out any kind of guard hairs or anything I don't need at the base of the butts here. Loosely stacking it in my hand, and then I'm going to trim off the tips. Lay it down at a 45-degree angle here. Throw 2 loose wraps around it, and then pull tight and spin it. And then I'm going to throw another wrap through it, or 2. Okay. So I'm going to pull this forwards, kind of clear out my hook eye, and then I still have tension on my thread. I'm going to take it and pull it through parallel to the hook. Throw a couple wraps in front. Then I'm going to whip finish. I'm going to try not to trap fibers. I'm going to. But when I pull tight, it should cut them. 3, 4. So pull tight. And then trim that out. So the next thing I'm going to do here is just trim my head. I have a razor blade and I just have a single-sided razor blade. So I'm going to invert the fly and trim the bottom first. And I use, for the guide here, I'm going to use my hook eye, my eyes, and that'll give me my trimming guide. So I'm just going to make a straight, flat cut over my eyes. These are just my initial cuts. And then up the hook eye. I'm going to rotate this around again. I'm going to bend this in my hand so I have a round profile. I'm going to take off the eye here about a 45-degree angle and just come up. Just do this slowly. Okay, I'm going to flatten out when I get up here and go all the way back to my collar without cutting my collar off. Okay. The next cut I'm going to make is off my hook eye here and also my dumbbell eyes that are in there. So that's my guide. And again, don't cut your collar. Same thing on this side. Okay, so I'm going to round this off a little bit, take out the hard edges. And then I'm going to come in here with my scissors and just take out anything, any errant, all these squared fibers here, right up to my collar. And just kind of clean this up a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect, just good enough. You do want your eyes to show through though. All right, that looks good to me. Next thing I'm going to do, just to finish this off, add a little character, I'm just going to grab a marker and mark my tail. So I'm using the flat chisel side and just going to, make bars down the tail. Same thing on this side. All right, that's it. Grab some head cement, or in my case, UV Cure here. Add a little bit to the underside. Cover your thread wraps. Get it in there, increase the durability. Hit it with your light, and you should be good. So that's the Borski Slider, one of my favorite flies for redfish. Make sure you guys hit subscribe and hit the bell button so that you're notified of all of our future fly tying videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.